Alright guys, so we're going to go ahead and work in the copy that I handed you yesterday in regards to related rates. So if you don't remember, it's the copy that looks like this right here. And we did number 1 and number 3 yesterday, so we are going to do 2 and 4 today. And we're just going to stick with the A part. We're just going to do the A part for both of those. So we're going to look at 2 and 4, and then maybe look at maybe 6 and 8 here at the bottom. And again, we'll just do the A part, and then we'll move on to some word problems on the right hand side. Some easy word problems. Alright, so go ahead and pull that out. And in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and go to number 2, which looks like this. Number 2. Okay, so it says y equals 2 times x squared minus 3x. And we're just going to do the A part. And if you look at the A part, we are given y prime. And y prime is equal to, no, we're looking for y prime actually. So we're going to give that a question mark. We're looking for y prime, and we have x equals 3 as another piece of info. And we have a given piece which says x prime is equal to 2. X prime is equal to 2. Okay, well, I think the first thing we should do is, before we even continue to take the derivative, we need to go ahead and get our y value. Because remember, with a coordinate pair, if there's an x that's given to you, most likely you will need the y value. So let's go ahead and plug it in. So if we were to plug in, let me use a different color. If we were to plug in 3 in for x, so I'm going to have 2. And I'm going to do some of this math in my head. When I plug in 3 here, I square that and I get 9 minus 3 times 3, and that's going to give me 9. Well, if we continue, 9 minus 9 is 0, and 0 times 2 gives me 0. So here I have found out that y equals 0. So I'm going to write that piece of info right here, and y is equal to 0. So when x equals 3, y is equal to 0. Alright, very good. So now we can continue with this part here, but you know what? I'm going to go ahead and make it better. I'm going to distribute that 2, because if I distribute that 2, it's going to be easier to take the derivative for it. So I'm going to have y is equal to 2x squared minus 6x. Now remember, in this section, we are discussing related rates, and the definition of related rates is basically an equation that has 2 or more variables in which it is with respect to time. So everything here that you see now will be with respect to time. So in other words, you're going to start attaching some primes to each variable. So let's take the derivative of each side here. If we take the derivative, we get y prime is equal to, keep that 2, that's the coefficient, and do the chain rule, the power, which is 2, times your expression to the 1 less, which is just x to the first power, times the derivative of what's being raised to the power, which in this case will be x prime. Now we have minus 6 x prime. So if we clean this up, this gives us 4x x prime minus 6 x prime. Okay? Alright, so in this case, we're looking for y prime. So that's what we're going to need to look for, and it's already isolated, it's already solved for, so we're good to go there. So all I need to do now is really just plug in our given values. So I have y prime is equal to 4 times, what is x? Scroll up here, x is 3. Times x prime. What's x prime? Scroll up here and x prime is 2. Minus 6 times x prime, which is 2. If I clean this up, I get 4 times 3 times 2. That gives me 24. Minus 12. And that gives me y prime to be equal to 12. And that's our answer. Okay, so that is 2A. Now we are going to look at 4A and discuss what we're going to do there. Alright, so let me go ahead and clear this, and we can do 4A. Alright, so 4 has x squared plus y squared equals 25. Okay, and then we have, for the A part, we are looking for y prime, so I'm going to put that in red. Y prime is equal to something. So I'm going to say question mark. And when x equals 3, and y equals 4. Notice that on the other one that we did not need to use that y, but you just want to get in the habit of going ahead and getting it, because when you wait to substitute at the end, you start freaking out, you forget that the most basic step is to plug it in at the beginning, and you'll get your y value quickly. And the given piece of info is x prime is equal to 8. Alright, so let's go ahead and just take the derivative of this equation right here. So when I take the derivative, I get 2x x prime plus 2y y prime is equal to, and the derivative of 25 is what? 0. Very good. Alright, so in this case, we're looking for y prime, but what's the problem with y prime? It's not by itself, so we need to isolate it. So in other words, I need to move anything that does not involve a y prime to the other side. So in this case, it's this term right here. And when you move this 2x, x prime, to the other side, it becomes what? It becomes negative. Very good. So I end up having 2y y prime is equal to negative 2x x prime. Okay, then the next step is to isolate the y prime. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2y. because whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. The 2's cancel, the y's cancel here. In this case, the 2's cancel, still leaving you with this minus, so let's not forget it. So we are going to be left with y prime is equal to negative x prime over y. All right, time to plug in. So when we plug in, that's going to be negative, what is x? X is 3. Times x prime. What is x prime? X prime is 8. All over y, which is 4. So we have 8 times 3 times a negative, so that'll be negative 24 over 4, and that gives us negative 6 as our answer. All right, we're going to move on to number 6. Number 6 has y equals 1 over 1 plus x squared. And remember, we're just going to do the a part. So we're going to say, well, the instructions say a point is moving along the graph of the given function such that dx dt, in other words, x prime, so let's go ahead and put that info down there, x prime is equal to 2 centimeters per second. This time we are given units, 2 centimeters per second. Find y prime. So we're going to need to find y prime. For the given values of x. And for this one, for the a part, we are given that x is equal to negative 2. Okay? So right off the bat, how do we take the derivative of this? This is going to be what? Right, this is going to be the quotient rule. So let's go ahead and take the derivative of the left-hand side. So that's going to be y prime is equal to the derivative of the first, which is 0, times the second, which is 1 plus x squared, minus the first, times the derivative of the second. Well, this derivative here is 0, so we're good with that. The derivative of this will be 2x x prime. And of course, all over the second squared. So it's going to be 1 plus x squared squared. All of it squared. Well, what happens here is that our first term is going to go to 0 because anything times 0 is 0. So we really get negative 2x x prime all over 1 plus x squared squared. And all we need to do from here is to substitute. All right, so here we go. Let's substitute. So we have